The truth is out there. Knowledge is power. This is the Prepper Podcast Radio Network.
Are you sick and tired of having your First Amendment harassed or censored on Facebook? Use no more, as we now have a new alternative to Facebook. It's called Awareness Act. Awareness Act is a social network designed for patriots, to be used by patriots, and is ran by patriots. Stand up and help in the fight to protect your constitutional rights. Patriots can create pages, blogs, videos, documents, articles, and so much more. We even have a unique news feed system that allows you to share, read, or connect with any patriot on Awareness Act. We are a dedicated tool for patriots to use against the tyranny our Constitution is facing. So if you're tired of having your rights infringed upon, come check us out at www.awarenessact.com. Again, that is www.awarenessact.com, the social network for patriots, not potatoes.
Whether you take me for the fool, I know that I can be. Whether you see me eye to eye.
The new Be Prepared for Christmas package from Sun Ovens contains everything you need to harness the power of the sun for cooking, water, and dehydrating. The perfect gift for the preppers or outdoor enthusiast on your shopping list. A sun oven uses the sun's power to bake, boil, or steam food, heat water for purification or personal hygiene, or solar dehydrate. When you use the sun's power on sunny days, you preserve your fuel storage for rainy days. Sun-baked foods retain moisture, have less shrinkage, and do not burn. Sun-baked roasts are tastier and more succulent, and sun-baked bread has unparalleled taste and texture. The new Be Prepared for Christmas package lets you roast an 18-pound turkey. For the past 26 years, Sun Ovens has been proudly made in the U.S., are durable, and have a long life and come with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't be fooled by cheap imitations. For a discount coupon, visit sunoven.com/podcast. That's sunoven.com/podcast.
Have you ever wanted to generate your own supply of electrical power, even save money on your electric bill? If so, this is going to be the most important message you will ever hear. Solar power generators are now available. These emergency backup systems provide life-saving electrical power when you need it most. Unlike gas generators, a solar generator runs quietly, emits no fumes, and produces electricity from the sun. It's like having an electric power plant running quietly in your own home. Run sump pumps, shortwave radios, computers, and even keep your food from spoiling. Whether it's hurricanes, ice storms, brownouts, or blackouts, you'll never suffer through painful power outages again. And here's the best news. A remarkable fall truckload sale going on right now that gets you $1,700 in bonuses when you buy a solar generator. To find out why solar generators are the best generators and get $1,700 for doing so, go to falltruckloadsale.com. That's falltruckloadsale.com. Generate your own supply of electricity. Go to falltruckloadsale.com. That's falltruckloadsale.com.
This is KPRN-DB, broadcasting worldwide from Southeast Oklahoma, USA, to parts unknown.
This is where Sun Tzu and MacGyver meet the Waltons. I know you can do it. I know you can prep for yourself and for your family. I believe in you. Crisis strikes, you need to reach down and check to see if you got the big boy or big girl underwear on, because you know what, you're going to have to be an adult and you're going to have to step up to the plate because you've got people depending on you.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's James Smith, the Covert Prepper with the Covert Prepper Show. How's everybody doing today? Well, this is a recorded show, in part because I've gotten too many complaints. Just pretty much takes a couple, and I'm going to have to stop doing the live shows. I just can't get the quality that everybody expects, and it pretty much is coming from Blog Talk Radio. I could use Skype. I could basically be sitting right inside a car right across from Blog Talk Radio, calling through my Skype, and it would still come out looking and sounding horrible. Let me talk more about that later. All information provided is for entertainment purposes or for post-apocalyptic uses. Please do not use it to break the law. I'm a former U.S. Navy enlisted sailor and prison corrections officer for medium and minimum security inmates, and I was a covert disability insurance fraud investigator for several years. And I currently work for a company that provides support to the disabled. I have a heart. It is 2 sizes too small, but I still have a heart. And when BG, my wife, lets me have it, because she usually steals it, I get a little faint and pale, but anyways, as the intro says, this is where Sun Tzu and MacGyver meet the Waltons. I show you how to hide your stuff so thieves don't steal from you, and we'll talk about other things as well. I would tell you our call in line, but it's not going to make any difference. The Twitter name is @CovertPrepper. The blog is www.thecovertprepper.com, and you can reach me at james@thecovertprepper.com, and my YouTube channel is The Covert Prepper. You can listen to Prepper Podcast Radio Network live feed by calling area code 786-837-2278. All right, now let's talk about this Blog Talk Radio thing. Now, you're hearing this probably on Blog Talk Radio, and I'm not bashing Blog Talk Radio, but I'm afraid that our needs are not being met by the quality that people expect by Blog Talk Radio. So we're going to be shifting to pretty much just the website. If you want to download the shows, go to prepperpodcast.com/podcast-2. You can download all of our shows there. That's perfectly fine. We're okay with that. So please visit the website, prepperpodcast.com/podcast-2. And it's lowercase podcast, or lowercase p for podcast. You'll find all the shows there and the latest from the hosts. They're in different colors, so if your favorite one is Homestead Dividends and it's green, then look for the first green one. If your favorite is all the shows, just click on the little down arrow, choose download, and in moments later, you'll have the show downloaded onto your computer. If you like what you hear, click on the follow button, which is on the left-hand side of the bar, the play bar for each of the individual shows. And we think that will help take care of a lot of problems. Today is the 15th of December, and what that means is there is actually a giveaway going on the Prepper Podcast Radio Network, and it's pretty darn cool. How cool? Way cool. Let me tell you just what you can win. You can win a nuke alert. You can win ThyroSave, which is potassium iodide, and you can win these cute little things called rad stickers. Now, I just put this in my pin it here, or pin, whatever it's called, a new contest. There we go. Anyways, you put it on your window, for example. If you think there's going to be a nuclear incident, you put it on your window, and it's a dosimeter. It's a badge dosimeter. Believe it or not, it is way cool. Now, it's not just a badge dosimeter. What it does is you get 5 of them in this, and you put in for this drawing, and you could put one on the back porch, you could put one on the front window, and then you put one down in your little bunker, so you know what your radiation level has hit as a high point. So when you hit 5 rads, 5 will light up. It'll change color, different color from everybody else. If there's been 10 rads, 10 will darken as well as 5. So this way you can see what your radiation dose has been to that point. So if you've got a little bunker, you can put that in there. So it may be 3,000 rads outside, it may be 5 rads inside, which is still survivable. 60, yeah, it's going to be survivable. So enter today. There's a large banner, there's a square banner, and there's a small banner on every post, nearly every post. If you can't find it, I'll send you the link. And it's threatjournal.com/PPRN. Just take a look for it. Now, tomorrow, Saturday, I will be announcing the winner of the Christmas 2012 giveaway, which is the tablet chock filled with prepper stuff. And we like prepper stuff. These are PDFs, these are applications. If, for example, you are, what's the word I'm looking for? If you are in an earthquake area, the National Red Cross earthquake app is there so that you can actually contact people via wireless, or you'll have instructions on how to make a kit. So this is a pretty darn good deal. It costs you nothing except for the moment in order to put it in. And tomorrow, the 16th, is also the start of the gun giveaway. Now, it's a High Point 45 caliber. It's a High Point 45 JHP. This gun is the three things you never want to meet in a dark alley: big, ugly, and heavy. And it's the right kind of heavy. It's a balanced kind of heavy. I've got 4 videos. You'll see 4 videos. One, it's somebody shooting a 45 or a high point with mixed ammo, reloads, Federal, Blazer, and things of this nature, and the thing shoots like a champ every single time. And then you'll see somebody doing practice on it, in a practice range. Great, fantastic. It is excellent gun. This is a gun that, believe it or not, is made in America. Not only is it made in America, but if you run out of bullets and you have to beat the snot out of somebody in order to subdue them so they can be arrested, and the gun breaks on their thick skull, you send it back to High Point, no questions asked, they will return it fixed. Yea, verily, and forsooth. I kid you not. That's that good of a gun. And I kid you not, when it comes to heavy, it's about 2 pounds. And that's a good, honest, I love the feel of a 45. Now, some people say, well, my Glock is. Well, your Glock is a girl gun. A 9mm, okay, my teenage daughter can shoot this 45. It's a heavy gun. It's a powerful gun, more powerful than the 9mm. So why do police officers and military have to shoot something that a little girl has no problems whatsoever shooting? If it was a big manly gun, it wouldn't make any difference. It was like a 44 Magnum. Okay, I wouldn't let her touch. But they're not using 44 mags, are they? No, they're using 9mm. Do you know why the Navy went to 9mm? It held more rounds. So all I can think is, why not get a bigger clip for the 45? I've seen snail rounds, snail clips. And if you don't know what a snail clip is, it's roundy, round. It holds 40 rounds of 45 ammunition. Yeah, I know, I'm drooling too. 40 rounds per gun. Just makes you want to have 2. Those bad guys pretty much do not want to stay down when you tell them to stay down. So that is the new drawing, and on there you've got 3 pages. There's the splash page. That's where we announce it and you see the videos. There's the rules and conditions. You need to read these rules and conditions. In fact, I'm probably going to edit the stuff. And then there is the actual how do I enter thing. It could be a tweet, could be a Facebook like, it could be an HTML tag, it could be an Alexa review, whatever it is, fill it out or do as that. And then down at the very bottom there is an entry blank. So for example, you may have tweeted the line, what's your name, so I can go back and verify that you actually did tweet. And they would also verify that you read and understood the conditions and terms and conditions, and that you're going to be over 21 and legal, or can legally purchase a firearm. I want to make sure that's in there because I want to Charlie Yankee Alpha, or Charlie Mike Alpha in this case. And that is what that is. And so these are great drawings, and I want you to head to prepperpodcast.com and check these out. Now, if you're listening to this on the 15th, the gun drawing does not go live until midnight the 16th, and we've made it midnight the Eastern time. Now, one thing has been added to the website. If you haven't had a chance, go take a look at what we have. And this is the latest, and I'm going to go back to some of the older things here. Very bottom. Scroll all the way down to the very, very, very bottom. You'll see an Alexa tab, but you also see a map. This map are of active volcanoes and earthquakes. Let's see here. I click on this. There's a 2.8 that took place 21 kilometers northeast of Shamrock, Texas. Here's an interesting one. It's a 1.6 over Irondale, Alabama. And let's see here. This is a 3.1 off of Gold R in British Columbia, whatever that Gold R is. Plus it shows all the active volcanoes and the quiet volcanoes. And then you click on the enlarge button, which is in the upper right hand corner. And it actually just does a little fly out pop up where you can actually see everything. It's pretty darn cool. It'll list all the latest earthquakes. For example, there was, wow, this thing's really sensitive, a 0.3 southwest, 6 kilometers southwest of Cobb, California. However, there was one at 2.1 in northern Italy that just popped up. So this is pretty cool. That's interesting. All the Azores, not the Azores, the Canary Island volcanoes and earthquakes are listed there, which is amazing because they're not taking this off of USGS. They're taking this off of everybody. And you can zoom right into your little hometown if you think you've got some problems. And it's an amazing little gadget. I think you'll like it. I know I do. Yeah, let's see if I can get that small map. There we go. All right, so let's go all the way to the very top of the web page, and you can go to homesteading videos. And there's about 24 homesteading videos, and basically these are how-tos on how to. Let me find one real quick here. You know, how to raise animals, how to raise chickens, Dutch oven cooking, bushcraft, making soap, off-grid sewage, making tools, how to make bread, making a survival kit, water filtration, and then the homesteading help is how these are downloads, PDFs, how to deal with food storage, residential wood heating, alcohol fuel, practical farm buildings. These PDFs that you see here are in that they are in the tablet that you can download. And it's not just what you see there. There's a next button so you can see even more downloads. And it tells me I need to keep adding more to this because there's a lot there. And the third is going to be disaster preparedness. And it's how to make disaster kits, how to deal with wildfires, tsunamis, floods, thunderstorms, solar flares, earthquakes, volcanoes, tornadoes, hurricanes, nukes, water, and like drought, windstorms. So take a look at that. It's a pretty sweet little thing. And of course we have some new advertisers, so please feel free to click on it. Solo Stove, which is a pretty good deal. It's great for camping. It is a wood gasifier. Dealy Bob. Pretty neat little thing. I need to get one. And what I'm going to start now is this article I found. It's called Why Are Preppers Hated So Much? It was done yesterday. And you can find it on theraptureisimminent.wordpress.com. And it's going viral. And I want to read it to you. I hate reading, but it's pretty darn cool. And then I want to talk about it. Have you noticed that it's become trendy to bash preppers? For a long time, the prepper movement was ignored, but now it's become so large that it's getting very difficult for the mainstream media to pretend that it's not there. In fact, it's been estimated that there are now approximately 3 million preppers in the United States alone. So now the mainstream media has decided that mocking the movement is the best strategy, and lots of, quotes, critics and, quotes, skeptics out there have picked up on this trend. Instead of addressing the very real issues that have caused millions of Americans to prepare for the worst, those criticizing the prepper movements attempt to put the focus on individual personalities. They try to find the strangest nut jobs they possibly can and then hold them up as typical preppers. The goal is to portray preppers as tinfoil hat wearing freaks that need to be locked up in the loony bin for their own personal safety and for the good of society. The criticism of preppers has really ramped up in recent months, and it will likely get even worse in 2013. The establishment is not like any movement that is outside of their control, and the prepper movement is definitely not under their control. Often hit pieces on the prepper movement are disguised as articles or shows that are supposed to be balanced for the movement. This is especially true for shows such as Doomsday Preppers. That show is the highest rated show that the National Geographic Channel has ever had, and it can be a lot of fun to watch. But if you notice carefully, they're almost always trying to feature people that they consider to be freaks or that are on the fringe of society. Many other reality shows follow the exact same recipe. The goal is to draw high ratings by running a freak show that people can't help but watch. Even if you go on such a show and try to do your best to explain your prepping in a rational and coherent manner, they will still edit the footage so that it makes you look like a freak. It really is a no-win proposition. These shows are trying to make it clear that preppers should be mocked. The underlying implication is that these people are crazy and that what they are doing is stupid. And at the end of each segment, the producers of the show are careful to include reasons why the prepper that was just featured is being irrational and why the things they are preparing for are extremely unlikely to happen. Just in case you missed the message they've been trying to communicate the entire time, they come right out and tell you the conclusion that you are supposed to come to. And of course, we see the same attitudes reflected in reviews of the show. For example, the following is from a recent Los Angeles Times review of the newest season of Doomsday Preppers. Quote, "Still, it's hard not to feel for young Jason from tiny Plato, Missouri, population 109, who is waiting worldwide financial collapse with his homemade, nail-studded mace ball bat, and that his is a life on the verge of going completely wrong. I'm not afraid to have to kill," Jason says, in his camouflage pants and dog tags, and there seems to be no question in his mind that it will come to that. Quote, "Jason has always been a worrywart," says his mother. Or for Big Al from Nashville, who's been getting ready for old-school nuclear war by digging down into the earth and surrounding himself with steel. I prefer not to use the term bunker. To me, it's an underground house. He spends months at a time by himself down there, training for the inevitable, which he expects to be weather alone, cooking different combinations of canned goods, and, spending too much time alone. One leg pumps constantly as he talks. By the way, that's a nervous condition. It's nerves. The preppers don't want my pity, of course. Quite the opposite, I'm sure. The joke will be on me, they would say, when I'm expiring from fallout or smallpox, being carried away in a tornado or torn apart by the hungry, ravaging hordes. I am not even prepared for the big earthquake that might more probably get me. And that finishes the article. Would this Los Angeles Times reporter mock other groups of Americans in a similar manner? Probably not. But the establishment has made it clear that this is open season on preppers, so this particular writer mocks them with no fear. Not that any prepper that is thinking clearly would go on a show such as Doomsday Prepper anyways. Sure, it'd be nice to be on television, but if you're a serious prepper, then the last thing you want is to go on television and advertise your preparations to millions of people. Others have picked up on the contempt that the establishment has for preppers and have started to issue their own critiques of the movement. For example, a quote emergency manager named Valerie Lucas McEwen recently published a blog post entitled, quote, "Doomsday Preppers are socially selfish," end quote, that got a lot of attention. The article goes, "You might wonder why someone like me, who's been in the business of encouraging disaster preparedness for a very long time, is so critical of people who are doing just that. It's because they're being socially selfish, preparing themselves and the hell with everyone else. Instead of spending time and energy making changes that would benefit the larger community, in their very narrow focus of loyalty, they are more concerned about themselves. Emergency managers can't afford that kind of attitude. It is diametrically opposed to everything we do. Our job is to prepare individuals and communities and jurisdictions and regions and ultimately the globe for disasters, knowing we won't always succeed." She follows up that venomous attack with another blog post in which she declared the following, quote, "Selfish is defined as concerned excessively or exclusively oneself, seeking or concentrating on one's own advantage or well-being without regards for others. By that definition, doomsday preppers are socially selfish. Disaster preppers are not." That ends her quote. Subsequently, she has issued a very brief apology. But she wrote it is very typical of the type of thinking that is out there these days. Anyone who does not, quote, trust the government and attempts to become, quote, self-sufficient is actually very, quote, selfish and is not being, quote, being a good citizen, end quote. And sadly, she appears that being a prepper is now enough to get special attention from the authorities. For example, a 46-year-old prepper in rural Maryland named Terry Porter recently had his home raided by 150 armed law enforcement officers. The details of this incident were described in a recent article by Paul Joseph Watson. And his quote goes, "According to the charging documents filed in Washington County District Court, Porter, quote, openly admitted to being a prepper, end quote, as if this was an illegal act in and of itself, and said that he was very, quote, very irritated, quote, about the recent presidential election. Porter had also invested in an underground bomb shelter and installed surveillance cameras on his property. Once the investigation into Porter began, police discovered that he had a 1992 felony drug conviction and therefore was barred from owning firearms. On Thursday last week, no less than 150 armed and militarized police and FBI agents in the guise of tactical assault teams descended on Porter's house as if they were confronting a terrorist cell. The raid also included helicopters, SWAT crews, armored vehicles, and excavation equipment. Porter was absent at the time of the raid, but turned himself in the next morning at Hagerstown's barrack. After the raid, the claim that Porter was stockpiling 10 to 15 machine gun-style firearms was demolished when the police uncovered 4 shotguns, a .30-30 caliber rifle, and 2 .22 caliber rifles. Hardly a deadly mass arsenal. That ends the article. Would 150 officers have showed up at his home if he had not been identified as a prepper? Of course not. But, quote, preppers have been labeled as, quote, dangerous and, quote, crazy, and that is the way that law enforcement authorities now treat them. So why are preppers hated so much? It is because they are a direct challenge to the status quo. Just by preppers are proclaiming that they do not have faith in the system. But most people have complete and total faith in the system, and many of them do not like to have that faith questioned. As I've written about in other articles, polling has found that most Americans expect that the government will take care of them if disaster strikes. Most people have been trained to, quote, trust the experts and to, quote, trust the government all of their lives, and that conditioning can be very difficult to overcome. This blind faith in the system is a big reason why so many Americans have not made any preparations at all. In fact, one recent poll discovered that most Americans do not even have 3 days' worth of food in their homes. And he goes, a recent survey found that 55% of Americans have less than 3 days' supply in their homes. Many people have no emergency supplies or even a first aid kit. That absolutely astounds me. Another poll discovered that 64% of Americans were, quote, unprepared for a major natural disaster, end quote. So what's going to happen to them is something even worse than a major natural disaster hits. For example, what if the electrical grid went down and we had no power for an extended period of time? Well, one survey found that 21% of all Americans believe that they would survive for less than a week, and an additional 28% of all Americans believe that they would survive less than 2 weeks. Close to 75% of all Americans said that they would be dead before the 2-month mark. Okay, just aside here, we have 300 million Americans, 75% gone. That's 210 million Americans, 225 million Americans gone. So at least 75 million Americans for America. So I guess we should better hope and pray that nothing goes seriously wrong, eh? The truth is that it isn't that preppers are crazy. Rather, it is the people that believe that everything will always be fine and the government will always take care of them that are crazy. Our world is becoming increasingly unstable, and now is the time to get prepared. You may get mocked a bit for prepping now, but later you will sure be glad that you prepared for the worst. And again, you can find that at raptureimminent.wordpress.com. Now, let me go to this real quick here. This has been a thought that's been running through my head. There is a concept, it's a danger concept. They will teach you that this is a dangerous thing to do in any kind of brainstorming or planning, and it's called groupthink. And you might consider it like this. It's like, yes, that's quite right, old boy. That's the way to go about it. Okay, that's groupthink. Groupthink is when everybody says, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's go with this. And if somebody has an opposing idea, it's like, oh boy, we've already thought of that. So it's a danger. When you have people that think outside the box, and remember, keep that box in mind. That's where you need to put your mental shackles. You're a danger because you are no longer thinking like them, and therefore they're not able to stay on your same wavelength, and therefore you're not like them. People like them. That's why we have communities. Would you be feeling safe in downtown Detroit, Michigan right now? No, you're not going to blend in. You don't come from around there. So when people are independent thinkers, you're a danger. You're not a real danger. You're just a danger to their status quo, the way they want things done. That's the bad thing. And that is what they worry about. The problem isn't you. The problem is them, and because there's more of them, and there's so few of us, that's where the problem exists. So what do you do about that? just prep. Don't worry about everything else. Just prep. Prep quietly. Do not mention that you're buying 50 pounds of flour for the end of the world or the next disaster or whatever. I'm just baking a lot of cakes. My wife and my mother-in-law are doing breads for the prison. Whatever it takes. When it comes time for ammunition, it's Christmas time. Just pick up a few rounds for Grandpa. Picking up a few rounds for my father-in-law. You know, it's 100 rounds, 45. That's okay. It's $40 or whatever. That's a reasonable present. Let's say you're getting yourself a brand new tent, just as an example. Well, prices are lowest right now. That's the best time to buy a tent. The prices are low, right? Anything that you can think of as a reason for buying what you're buying is perfectly okay. They can hate us. I kid you not, there's a list of people that hate me. It is a really long list. There are people that want to see me dead. It's a really long list. I don't care. I'm going to live my life for as long as I possibly can, as full as I possibly can. And if somebody wants to try to kill me, I don't care. It's not on my things to worry about. Getting to tomorrow is my number one worry. Concern, not a worry. I don't really worry. I just have concerns. When disaster strikes, let's go with grid down situation. Entirely possible. No, you know what? Let's do better. In that article, the LA Times reporter had said that I'm not even ready for the big one, for LA's big earthquake. Okay, let's focus on the LA earthquake. When LA earthquake goes, people are going to be A, hungry, B, thirsty, and C, scared. Not necessarily in that order. What do preppers do? We plan for these little nightmares, and so we prepare for these little nightmares. We're not going to be scared. Oh, we're going to be nervous. We're going to be concerned, but we're not going to be terrified. We're not going to be scared. We offer a word of hope to them. It's like, we'll get through this together. You and me, my family, your family, we're going to get through this. You may say that 100 times a day, but you know what? Words of hope go so far. They really do. They're going to be hungry. Great. You may show them on how, my kids will never eat that. I'm only going to eat that when I'm hungry. Great. You're now hungry, so you're going to be eating it. You can take what they have, whatever it may be. It could be pork and beans, and you can show them how to make fudge with it, just as an example. And because that's pinto beans, and you can make fudge with pinto beans. You can show them on how to take what they've got and make it go even further. I've got flour, I've got oil. Great. You have the start of a small bread. Believe it or not, that's how the old breads are made. A little flour, a little oil, bake it, you have bread. It's unleavened, but it's still bread. Teaching people on how to deal with the crisis afterwards is so very important. You may have a Berkey water filter, you may have a Sawyer water filter, you may just have a charcoal and sand water filter. It's going to go a long distance. When you have people that have nothing, helping them get through a crisis means everything. You could say, look, I've got the sand and charcoal filter. Best I can tell you, what we can do is we can filter the water we got from the LA reservoir or the LA river, and then we'll boil what's left, and we'll have drinking water. So we just need a couple 5-gallon buckets or some pitchers of water, coolers of water, whatever it takes, and we'll filter them, and then we'll get through this together. And you may only have Spam and beans. You may share, you may not share. I don't know. But when they say, well, I don't have 3 days worth of food, and that must be because they haven't gone shopping for that week. Trust me, people will have more than 3 days of food in the house. They just don't realize it. They just don't know what they have. They have more than 3 days worth of food. If you feel comfortable with it, what you can do is you can get recipe booklets or make up recipe booklets, like on how to make Scotch broth, which I've gone over here before. Google Scotch broth on covertprepper.com, and you'll find it. It's really simple. Basically, it's rice and beans and garbanzo beans and split peas and barley and whatnot. And then you just make this big batch up, and then you can add canned meat after it's cooking. And you 15 minutes before you're about to serve it, you put the canned meat in there, heats it up. You can add dried vegetables, and that'll make the more nutritious, more flavorful, more challenging, or more gusto. So that is what you can do during the disaster. And the nice thing about when a disaster strikes is you're going to have the ability not to be one of power, but you're going to have one of compassion. You're going to be able to help them get through this together. And it's like, we can do this. You're going to be the voice of reason. We can get through this. It's not that bad. Yes, you have no home, but that's right now. Next year, you'll have a home. You'll have clean water. You'll have good food. Just hang tight. Don't panic. Now, in a grid down situation where, massive solar flares for 16 days have wiped out the electronics grid, then you're going to be a little bit different. It's you have your home, but you don't have heat. So you don't have your cell phone. I'm sorry, Facebook, your farm is going to die on Farmville. Just buck up, little one. You can do it. You can make it through. And help them get through that addiction of Facebook, Twitter. I'm horrible with Twitter. But you'll just be that voice of reason, and really, that goes so far. So just think about that. They may hate us, but they hate us without reason. They really do. And I want to tell you about these. I left something off of the my prepper list, my Christmas presents. I may have just mentioned in passing, but I didn't go back and fill in the blank. But one was a small engine repair manual. I hate to think I'm just doing a bad segue, but I got to thinking about the simple 2-stroke engine repair book. Because you can do so much with a 2-cycle engine. Believe it or not, if you have a 2-cycle engine, this is what you can make. You can make a generator. Believe it or not, you just need an alternator and then an inverter. You can make a clothes washer. That's right. You can run some gas in there. You may say, okay, we're only going to run this for 1 cup worth of gasoline, and you put it in there, and that cup is gone. That's it. And then you can actually agitate. If you take the dishwasher or the clothes washer out, hook that little motor right on there, and fix it, and just set it just right. You can make this into a multi-purpose tool. The 2-cycle engine. You just need to have a shaft that's just right. And these shafts, you can make collars for them in order to run whatever kind of tool that you need to have ran. For example, it could be a cement mixer, it could be the clothes washer, it could be a generator, it could be almost anything else that you might need. A lawnmower. And that's where you can find. Look for an old lawnmower. And they may say it doesn't work. Well, they take it for $45, go down to your local True Value or wherever, and get that engine, that lawnmower to work. Great. You now have a working 2-cycle engine. Take that thing out of the casing, and then start working on making collars for an alternator. And that will definitely get you so far along. Now, if you're going to be doing some kind of a generator, the kind of alternators you're looking for are GMC, Chevy, like a Chevy S10 generator. You want something about 100 amp. Now, that's at maximum RPMs. You will hit 100 amp, and that's not good for a battery. If you need to charge a battery up, it's going to be 1/10 of its capacity. So if you have a 110 amp hour battery, like this, it's like the 75Ns, I believe is what the type is, then you're going to need to only charge at 11 amps per hour. Yes, it will take you 10 hours to fully charge that from dead. So basically you're looking like 3 hours, realistically. And you'll be able to keep your battery banks charged up with that. See how simple it is? How much gas is going to take? I mean, it's a pretty fuel efficient little thing. It's only 2-stroke. It goes quick, and you'll be fine. I'm just going to take a look at the time here. How much time have I used? Okay, about half an hour. That's all I've got. Now, next weekend is the end of the world. I hope everybody has planned accordingly. It's December 21st on Friday. Now, everybody says, oh, I'm going to have an end of the world party Friday night. Well, I got news for you. You should have done it Thursday night because it's supposed to happen Friday morning. Darn. Now, on the bright side, Australia has it, so what time? About 8 a.m., I think, or noon. Maybe it's noon. Because I was on the West Coast during the Y2K. And I was listening to what's going on in Australia, and they didn't have any problems. And so when it came to our turn, no problem. So listen to the news. What's going on in Australia on Thursday? I would start Wednesday. Just keep listening. I want to talk about this school shooting really quick here. 20 children died because some idiot was unstable. It is not the guns that are the problem. The guns are inherently neutral. It's the person that wields that gun that is evil. This person who had poor self-esteem clearly was unstable. Instead of talking to somebody before he picked up a gun, he killed his parents. He could have killed himself, but he didn't after that. He went to the school, gained access to the building, and opened fire on the school, on the children. The guns are not the problem here, ladies and gentlemen. The problem is with the school. You will not hear this from anybody who works at a school. The school's not at fault. Of course they're at fault. Why are those doors unlocked? It is the fault of the school for not protecting the children from any harm. If a person had come in there, grabbed a child, and ran out, who would be at fault? The school would be at fault because they failed to protect a child. Somebody came in, shot 20 children, and I'm sure, I really hope that man is roasting in hell right now because he pretty much deserves it. He felt so bad about killing his parents and killing 20 children and his brother, somebody else, that he took his own life. Why didn't you save us the troubles, buddy, and just kill yourself to start with and not take out innocent civilians? So, 20 families are destroyed. 21 if you want to include, I mean, his brother did lose his brother and his parents. So, 21 families are destroyed. Well, there's the 6 adults, so we have to include those adults that had died as well. So 27 families are destroyed. Because some idiot did not, it wasn't a matter of having access to a gun, and I'll explain in just a moment, because he was allowed access to that school. You need to harp on anybody and everybody that says, well, they need to get rid of guns. Well, they should have locked the doors. Had he not had access to the doors, he would not have shot the children. It is the school's fault. You can substitute gun and school in this case. The gun did not kill the children. It was the man. The school allowed the man to gain access to do that. So therefore, the school is at fault. We need to ban schools. Now, I had said before that the gun is not the issue here. In China, a man with a knife killed 22 children the same day. Yesterday. Is it the guns? Is it the knives that are evil? No, it's the person wielding the weapon. Should we ban all sharp, pointy things? No. Should we ban all weapons? No. You know why they really can't ban firearms? It's called the Volstead Act. You know it better as prohibition. You see, prohibition was a good example. You have an object. In this case, it's a bottle of whiskey. And people do stupid things. They drink, they drive, they kill innocent people with it. And so they banned alcohol. Guess what? It didn't work because people were making alcohol. By the way, it was legal to make alcohol. You just couldn't sell alcohol. You can make it for your own personal consumption. You could not sell said alcohol. That would be in violation of the Volstead Act. And there was a constitutional amendment. And then a few years later, there's another constitutional amendment repealing the Volstead Act. How'd you like to be named Volstead back in the 30s? That'd be like a really horrible thing. Not me, man. My uncle. So, guns are not evil. Knives are not evil. People carrying the weapons are evil. This is why I have no compunction in carrying a weapon. It's why I have no compunction in approving somebody, mentally giving the nod, yeah, cool dude, you carry, because I know it's not the man. It's not the weapon, it's the man. The last thing I ever want to do is draw my weapon. The second last thing I ever want to do is have to think about drawing my weapon. So, in fact, I had to draw my weapon one time, and it really wasn't that comfortable. But I did it because it was the right thing to do. So, I just want to leave that parting thought in your head. back to parting thoughts. Enter to win the Nuke Alert, which is a key fob you put on your keys, and if there's any kind of radiation in the area, it will beep. The more radiation, the more beeps. You can also win ThyroSafe, which is potassium iodide to protect your thyroid, and you can also win these cute little rad stickers that you can put on your windows, and you can see how much radiation from Fukushima, for example, that we've received. In this, and it's cumulative. It's when it hits 5 rads, something will change. It hits 10 rads, something will change. So you know just how safe you are. So I can't enter to win this, but if I ever got one of those stickers, I'd put one by my little bunker, or whatever you want to call my bunker, one right outside by a window, so that I can always see. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been great. It's been fun. And don't forget, tomorrow you can start entering to win the High Point 45 caliber handgun. This thing is beautiful. It's great. And I hope to see you all next week. It will be a recorded show. BG and I are taking off. We're not going to be bunkering. We're just going to be doing something. We're hopefully watch a movie and have dinner. We're starting to do the empty nest thing, and it's getting better and better. So with that, I'll talk to everybody, and remember, be careful. Bye-bye.
Are you sick and tired of having your First Amendment harassed or censored on Facebook? Use no more, as we now have a new alternative to Facebook. It's called Awareness Act. Awareness Act is a social network designed for patriots, to be used by patriots, and is ran by patriots. Stand up and help in the fight to protect your constitutional rights. Patriots can create pages, blogs, videos, documents, articles, and so much more. We even have a unique news feed system that allows you to share, read, or connect with any patriot on Awareness Act. We are a dedicated tool for patriots to use against the tyranny our Constitution is facing. So if you're tired of having your rights infringed upon, come check us out at www.awarenessact.com. Again, that is www.awarenessact.com, the social network for patriots, not potatoes.
Whether you take me for the fool, I know that I can be. Whether you see me eye to eye.
The new Be Prepared for Christmas package from Sun Ovens contains everything you need to harness the power of the sun for cooking, water, and dehydrating. The perfect gift for the preppers or outdoor enthusiast on your shopping list. A sun oven uses the sun's power to bake, boil, or steam food, heat water for purification or personal hygiene, or solar dehydrate. When you use the sun's power on sunny days, you preserve your fuel storage for rainy days. Sun-baked foods retain moisture, have less shrinkage, and do not burn. Sun-baked roasts are tastier and more succulent, and sun-baked bread has unparalleled taste and texture. The new Be Prepared for Christmas package lets you roast an 18-pound turkey. For the past 26 years, Sun Ovens has been proudly made in the U.S., are durable, and have a long life and come with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't be fooled by cheap imitations. For a discount coupon, visit sunoven.com/podcast. That's sunoven.com/podcast.
This is KPRN-DB. Broadcasting worldwide from Southeast Oklahoma, USA to parts unknown.